Danganronpa 2, Class Trial Nummer 5, was anscheinend der letzte Class Trial ist.
During the class trial, you will present your arguments for who the killer is and vote for who done it. If you vote correctly, then only the blackened will receive punishment. But if you pick the wrong person, I'll punish everyone besides the blackened, and that person will earn the right to leave this island. Oh my, Monami? My cute little sister? You're awfully quiet. What's happened to you? You've ascended the ladder of adulthood and reached the moon? Because you're a rabbit? Chesto!
Was ist mit ihr?
One more time! Jeez! How about this one? This will be my final blow! It's useless.
Please stop! I feel bad for Monomi.
You're right. Now's not the time for me to horse around with Monami. The class trial has started, after all. The victim this time is Nagito, who is attempting to reveal the traitor for everyone's sake. Who in the world killed him? I'm so curious.
If he was killed for trying to reveal the traitor, that traitor is obviously the killer. They were trying to shut Nagito up.
Ja, aber der Traitor ist Hyakuya.
No, that might not be it.
Huh? Are you trying to protect the traitor? They didn't call out when we were in danger. Wait. Don't tell me you're the traitor.
Don't say something so stupid! There's no way in hell I'm the traitor!
Now that's more like it. Why don't you guys hurry and start arguing already?
The traitor and the killer who murdered Nagito. Is he alright? Are they the same person? Or... Nee, weil der Traitor ist ja Byakuya. Und Byakuya ist ja tot. Also der falsche Byakuya. Torture Wound, Survival Life, Duct Tape, Monokuma-Flasche. Oh, Hilfe, Monokumas Account könnte es sein. Aber ich überlege das. Oder warte, was war noch Monokumas Account? Ach so, er wusste, dass die Bomben fake sind.
Didn't tape Nagito's mouth to shut him up! I'm telling you, they were torturing him!
The reason Nagito's body was covered with wounds.
It's because the killer tortured Nagito!
So that's why he was so beat up. What were they trying to find out by torturing him? Definitely the bomb's hiding place. If so, the suspect is whoever found the bomb first!
That was Fuyuhiko!
I found it by coincidence. There's no way I'd torture someone.
Why did the killer have to torture Nagito? No. Were the wounds on Nagito's body really caused by torture in the first place?
The killer didn't tape Nagito's mouth to shut him up! I'm telling you, they were torturing him!
The reason Nagito's body was covered with wounds.
It's because the killer tortured Nagito!
So that's why he was so beat up. What were they trying to find out by torturing him? Definitely the bomb's hiding place. If so, the suspect is whoever found the bomb first!
That was Fuyuhiko!
I found it by coincidence. There's no way I'd torture someone.
Why did the killer have to torture Nagito? Warte. Ich verstehe hier. Soll ich mit Ding agreeen? Oder soll ich mit green oder soll ich was abschießen? Das ist halt jetzt die große Frage. So viel Dinger haben. Also, ja, unser Dinger, aber eigentlich macht fast gar keins davon Sinn. Einsetzen, das verwirrt mich ja gerade, vielleicht macht es ja doch Sinn. Das ist ja jetzt gerade die große Frage. Ah, es ist furchtbar, es ist schon wieder furchtbar. No, what would tonight really cause my torture in the first place? Huh. Oh, das ist schwierig, ey.
The killer didn't tape Nagito's mouth to shut him up. I'm telling you, they were torturing him.
The reason Nagito's body was covered with wounds.
It's because the killer tortured Nagito.
So that's why he was so beat up. What were they trying to find out by torturing him? Definitely the bomb's hiding place. If so, the suspect is whoever found the bomb first.
That was Fuyuhiko.
I found it by coincidence. There's no way I'd torture someone.
Vielleicht das Duct Tape. Bin ich mir auch nicht sicher. Weil das Duct Tape könnte es halt auch wieder sein. Weil er sagt ja, dass er getortured wird. Oh, boah. Ich versuche das mal. Es ist...
The killer didn't tape Nagito's mouth to shut him up. I'm telling you, they were torturing him.
The reason Nagito's body was covered with wounds.
Stimmt.
It's because the killer tortured Nagito.
Ja,
No, that's wrong.
das macht ja auch voll Sinn.
But Nagito's mouth was covered with duct tape, so he wouldn't have been able to confess anything. If he was being tortured for information, they wouldn't have taped his mouth like that.
I'm prepared.
Oh, Hilfe.
I just realized it. It's a trap.
Trap?
Stupid Hajime. You got caught in that trap.
Stupid.
Like you said, if Nagito's mouth was taped shut, you'd obviously assume he couldn't talk, right? But that was the trap. They wanted to hide the fact that he got interrogated.
But if you tape his mouth shut, how is he supposed to answer anything?
Pay attention. This is how it went. First, the killer tortured Nagito and got information about the bomb's location. Then, after they killed him, they duct taped his mouth shut. Whew, that was close, you guys. Thanks to me, you guys didn't get caught in the trap.
Nagitos Mouth after getting information from him, true. Weil ja kein Blut in seinem Mund war, ne? Das ist das Ding, aber was setzt sich dafür ein?
Pay attention. This is how it went down. First, the killer tortured Nagito and got information. Then, after they killed him,
Ah, scheiße, ich hätte nicht gegenschlagen dürfen.
like you said, if Nagito's mouth was taped, you'd obviously assume he couldn't talk. But that was the trap. They wanted to hide the fact that he got interrogated.
But if you tape his mouth shut, how is he supposed to answer anything?
Pay attention. This is how it went down. First, the killer tortured Nagito and got information about the bomb's location. Then, after they killed him, they duct taped his mouth shut.
Ja, ich weiß nicht, was ich dazu einsetzen soll.
Crap!
Bin kein Idiot.
Pay attention. This is how it went down. First, the killer tortured Nagito and got information about the bomb's location. Then, after they killed him,
Ich habe keine Ahnung.
Damn it!
like,
Ich habe keine Ahnung, was ich dazu einsetzen soll. Also offensichtlich. Ich check's offensichtlich nicht. Ja, es war kein Blut in seinem Mund, aber wie finde ich das raus? Oder muss ich das Duct Tape einsetzen? Kann doch kaum möglich sein, oder? Das Duct Tape kann doch echt kaum sein, oder? Obwohl doch vielleicht. Ja, doch, das duct
You
tape.
said if Nagito's mouth was taped shut, you'd obviously assume he couldn't talk, right? But that was the trap. They wanted to hide the fact that he got interrogated.
I can't back down! But if you tape his mouth shut, how is he supposed to answer anything?
Pay attention, this is how it went down. First, the killer tortured Nagito and got information about the bomb's location. Then, after they killed him,
Warte, das ist falsch.
Allow me to cut through those words!
Ich habe die ganze Zeit das Falsche gemacht.
No, there's no doubt Nagito's mouth was covered with duct tape before he was beat up.
what did you say?
Who cares about the duct tape? We might as well settle this with rock, paper, scissors. We don't need to play a game. It's clear the duct tape was on his mouth before the torture even began.
Why do you always side with Hajime? Do you have a crush on him or something?
Are you in elementary school or something?
You were with us when I peeled the duct tape off Nagito's mouth, right? The blood on Nagito's face wasn't under the duct tape, remember?
The blood on his face came from his arm wounds, which means the duct tape was on his face before his arms were even wounded.
And the duct tape had a lot of crinkles around his mouth. He must have been struggling to open his mouth under the duct tape.
Perhaps the duct tape was used so he wouldn't be able to scream. Then it's like I said at the beginning. The tape wasn't for torture. It was to keep his mouth shut.
However, if they wanted to seal his mouth, they did not need to hurt him with such ferocity.
They probably had a deep grudge against Nagito.
Then, are you saying the killer was trying to make him suffer?
If so, it's friggin' crazy. Did they go psycho or something?
No, they didn't just go crazy. Whoever did this must be one crafty bastard. If not, they wouldn't have taken the time to set fire to the crime scene and destroy all the evidence.
The warehouse fire was for destroying evidence?
We can't think of any other reason.
But who could have done that? When the fire occurred, everyone in this room was gathered in front of the warehouse.
Yeah. And right after I opened the warehouse door, the flames started burning from the very back.
Which means, it is plausible to think that nobody here set the fire.
The killer isn't one of us. But that's not the case, huh? I mean, it's wishful thinking.
Even if it was only a coincidence, the timing was just too perfect.
Based on the pattern up until now, we should suspect that some kind of setup was used for this.
Some kind of setup? Like what?
I do not know that, but that has been the pattern before.
That's our Miss Sonia. You have such an amazingly high intellect. Alrighty then, let's think about this based on what Miss Sonia thinks. Is that okay, Miss Sonia?
Damn right it is!
Reason for the fire, huh? They're right. We need to clear that up first. Es war wegen dem Oil lighter.
The direct cause of the fire was the oil lighter found at the crime scene, right?
Yeah.
The killer used some kind of setup. He lit the curtain on fire with the lighter.
Some kind of setup?
Did they use the oil as an improvised fuse?
They probably just threw the lighter.
Based on the shape of that oil lighter, it can stand upright while the flame is lit.
If they tipped over the lighter in some way, it could have ignited the curtain.
Some way?
Maybe they used invisible thread.
There should have been a way to tip it over with sound waves.
Or perhaps opening the door caused.
I agree with that. I also agree that opening the door is what started the fire.
Just as I thought, it was the wind pressure! A dust devil blown here from glorious Japan!
No, not wind pressure. They probably used the Monokuma panels. A huge number of tipped-over Monokuma panels were found at the crime scene, right? It looked like they were scattered everywhere. but some were laying on top of each other in a single line. Just a single line leading from the warehouse door to the fire's origin.
Does that mean anything?
The killer probably arranged those Monokuma panels to create a domino effect.
A domino effect. You mean those tiles kids play with by lining them up and tipping them over?
In place of those tiles, the killer used the Monokuma panels. So when we opened the warehouse door, the first panel toppled into the second. And from there, they fell like dominoes until they reached the lighter at the end.
But wouldn't it be obvious that those big panels were falling over?
Alles so geplant.
That's probably why they turned off the lights in the warehouse, so we wouldn't notice them.
So the reason the warehouse was dark was to hide the domino effect.
And one more thing. There was something else the killer did to hide the domino effect, right?
Here's the one other thing. Oh, ja. Du, keine Ahnung. Scheiße. Der MP3-Player kann es eigentlich nicht sein, oder? Oder doch der MP3-Player?
I see!
Ah, tatsächlich.
You were talking about the MP3 player, right?
Ich wollte nämlich sagen, ich hab nicht schon eine Vermutung gehabt, aber ich dachte, vielleicht hat es nichts damit zu tun.
That hymn blaring throughout the warehouse masked the sound of the falling panels.
Ja, das wollte ich sagen sogar, aber ich dachte, vielleicht war es falsch. The inside of the warehouse felt even darker because her eyes were still used to the bright sunlight outside. Within that darkness, a loud hymnal blared throughout the warehouse at full volume. Do you guys hear something? Yeah, it's really damn loud. Does Nagito like listening to this depressing crap? No, I'm not talking about the music. And this is if on cue, it suddenly started. Und sie hat das einzige gehört.
That's it. So the strange sound was actually the sound of the panels falling.
But those sounds weren't the only strange thing, right? Looking back on it, it was also strange when we opened the door to the warehouse.
It's fine, I'll open it slowly. No, that's not the problem. Seriously, it'll be fine. With those words, Akane brushed off everyone's warnings and slowly opened the door to the warehouse. Hi, it's not opening. Is there something blocking the door? I can barely open it. I knew it. It's a trap. Seriously, just stop it all, okay? Didn't I tell you it will be fine? I just gotta use a little more force. What happened to opening it slowly? Akane ignored the protest, and with a mighty kick, the door flew open.
Ah, so the door was being blocked by a Monokuma panel.
And when we opened the door, the domino effect started, and the falling panels eventually reached the lighter.
Yeah, and that's how the warehouse caught on fire. At least, that's how it looks.
You don't look so sure.
At the time, Akane mentioned that she could barely open the door.
Because the panel was blocking it, right?
But the blocked doorway, there wasn't enough space for a person to fit through, right?
Is that a problem?
It's a major problem. I mean, that door was the only entrance to the warehouse.
That door was the only entrance to the warehouse. See, so the problem Jackie talking about is... Killer couldn't have left.
I see!
Ja, ist genauso wie bei Danganronpa 1. Hätte man
The
nicht
panel was
rausgehen
so
können.
close to the door that it could barely be opened. The killer inside the warehouse wouldn't be able to leave, right?
Now that you mention it.
Ja, also der Killer hätte ja einzig nicht aus der Tür rausgehen können, wie die Tür von innen versperrt ist.
Does that mean they were hiding inside?
Quatsch.
Who? We were all outside the warehouse, you know.
Ja.
Based on the patterns up until now, I believe some kind of setup was used.
You don't have to think so hard. There's actually only one person who could have possibly done this.
You don't mean...
Nagito selber, but if that's true, das Murder.
Hajime? What do you mean?
Hätte nur Nagito sein können. Da war es aber Selbstmord. The person who set up the domino effect inside the warehouse. There's only one person who could have done that. Nagito. Wo ist er denn?
This is my answer. What if it was Nagito?
Why'd you bring him up? He's the victim, you know. He wasn't just the victim. Maybe.
Huh?
Not just the victim? What does that mean?
Ja, auch der
He was
Culprit.
the victim. And he was the perpetrator, too. Maybe.
Are you saying this was a suicide? Don't be stupid. His body was covered in torture wounds. Or did you already forget?
Ja, so wie ich Nagito kenne, das ist wahrscheinlich selber angetan. Aber das ist nämlich schwer, ist halt das Seltsamste.
Are you saying those were all self-inflicted?
But Nagito might do something like that, don't you think?
That's not the issue. He was tied up, remember? Even for a creep like Nagito, it'd be impossible for him to tie up his own arms and legs.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, as long as you understand.
It seems we need to discuss how Nagito was able to tie himself up.
Need to discuss? That's not necessary at all. No matter how much you think about it, it's clearly impossible.
Like you said, it seems impossible if you think about it, but I feel like I'm overlooking something. Burned rope vielleicht?
To actually tie up your own arms and legs. That's obviously impossible!
Tying just the legs is one thing, but tying both arms would be impossible.
You couldn't do much with the free arm.
It'd be impossible if you were by yourself.
How about if you use your teeth? Or if you use your front tail?
Dirty joke! Is that a dirty joke?
Ja. Her assumption that Nagito committed suicide is correct. Nagito should have tied himself up too. Huh. That is a little strange. But that's okay, right?
To actually tie up your own arms and legs. That's obviously impossible!
Tying just the legs is one thing, but tying both arms would be impossible.
You couldn't do much with the free arm.
It'd be impossible if you were by yourself.
How about if you use your teeth? Or if you use your front tail?
Dirty joke! Is that a dirty joke?
Ah. Okay, das ist weird. Vielleicht das burned rope?
To actually tie up your own arms and legs. That's obviously impossible!
Tying just the legs is one thing, but tying both arms would be impossible.
You couldn't do much with the free arm.
It'd be impossible if you were by yourself.
How about if you use your teeth? Or if you use your front tail?
Dirty joke! Is that a dirty joke?
Ich habe irgendwie das Gefühl, dass das erste falsch ist.
To actually tie up your own arms and legs.
Geh weg! Oh,
No,
okay,
that's
ist auch
wrong.
sogar richtig. Ja, weil...
Hold on a second. Isn't that premise flawed?
What? I mean, it's no mistake that his arms and legs were...
No, it shouldn't have been both of his arms.
Ja, weil das eine Rope ja Ding.
The rope on his right arm was completely burnt up. Based on that, you can't say he was tied up.
That was just burned by the fire. He should have been tied up before then.
It burned because of the fire. Like you said, it might look like that.
Gut, Leute, ich würde sagen, machen wir im nächsten Mal weiter bei Danganronpa 2. Goodbye, Despair und ciao.